Jesus wasn't real. Relax, bro. It's okay. He wasn't real. I know the story. I've heard it before. Nobody can actually walk on water. It's ridiculous. So I understand. I agree with that. The interpretation of it. I agree with the Bible being written by the ones that are playing it out. The God that runs the whole show, that's up in the air, up in the other land up there, because we're down here in the pit hole, the anthill, the valleys. The mountains are above us. We're in the valley. This is like the shadows of death down here. That's why Stephen James is in his... Yeah, I mean, he could be in that house for 7 years, legitimately. If he is King Neb, then he would be down here. But it's still hard to believe that a king would... Yes, he can live down here on planet Earth as an animal with all the beasts of the field and with the dew of heaven that's surrounding him. But I find it hard to believe that king doesn't enjoy his life down here with the beast of the fields, living like an animal down here after coming from up the high mountains, the mountain area. You know, if that's the script and how it's supposed to be written out, then that king will be on this earth, and you may be able to go visit him. If you know, when I go and visit Steve, I'm sure I'm going to see him. I'm going to see the person, and he's going to be there. Now, when I leave, does he stay there, or does he go under his bat cave like Batman and underground, and then goes to his place, and then when he needs to be seen or does a video, he pops up, comes back from Mars, takes him like 30 seconds to get underneath of his house. You know, if someone's knocking on the door, he'll have to hurry up and hop in his little space capsule and come down here. But anyway, so the Jesus subject, it's the first time I've ever heard, really, somebody on YouTube that I know is a, you know, like an agent that's planted there from the elite. Could be a king himself. I mean, I don't know. But it's the first time I really heard someone say that Jesus isn't real after all the people saying that he is real. And then but then I understand where he's coming from. You know, literally, and that's why I'm not gonna be so hard on the guy at this time, because what he's doing is he's telling you the truth. Although it's not true, because Jesus is real. It is real. Is real? Jesus is real, and because so's the devil. You might as well say, and in the same breath, Satan's not real either. If Jesus ain't real, then Satan's not real. But I know Satan's real. I know the devil is real, because he's been gang stalking me for the past 5 years. So damn sure is real. But when Jeffrey Doherty's talking about Jesus not being real, he's telling you that Well, here's what he's saying, but he's not telling you the absolute truth. So this is why, if you're going to go that far out and say Jesus ain't real, well, then you also ought to explain how you know he's not real. Like, well, I know he's not real because I'm part of the fake script too. I'm part of one of the apostles, and our Jesus was Paul, and Paul's the Antichrist. So Paul isn't really Jesus, and we know it, but he's going to play it out as if he is. Therefore, we wrote the Bible. There is no God writing anything. We wrote the Bible. We're playing it out, and we're all liars. So therefore, I can tell you the truth. Jesus ain't real. However, in spirit, Jesus is real. But I have not come across that spirit yet. It hasn't convicted me because I'm still rich as hell in my pockets. I can go wherever I want. I can do whatever I want. I can have the cockiest mouth on YouTube and be so arrogant and full of myself and be the biggest dick because of the size of my dick. Because in the serpent race, the bigger the dick you have, the bigger the dick you are. So the only way that anybody can truly believe that Jesus is real is you have to have an encounter with the risen Christ. And so as I clicked on his channel and he was live streaming. And as soon as I clicked on his channel, he was talking about Jesus is a pussy. He didn't say anything when he was being crucified. And so I didn't type anything in until he kept persisting. And then, so that's when I was sicking Steve on him to get him. And then, if you pay me, because that's what's going to happen, period, point blank. And so because I came into YouTube platform as a spokesperson for the Lord God Almighty, for Jesus Christ. I'm a spokesperson for Jesus Christ. That same spirit is inside of me, and I'm going to exercise it. Now, I know the threat, the fear, anybody that proclaims that name will be crucified. Anybody, everybody and anybody. It's not just one person that'll be crucified. Everybody will be. Especially if you're pushing that fake, that fake wrap-up smear campaign against Stephen James and Sean. That's totally fake. I mean, not all of it. I mean, some of it could be real. It could be. Just the part about killing my homeless people ain't real, but all the other stuff is. And babies aren't literal babies. They're just the sparks of life that you boil up or something. That's what Satan eats his children. So when Jeffrey there was talking about Christ not saying a word, like he's some kind of a punk bitch. Well, yeah, I mean, the way that the Bible has been taught, it never seemed right to me. You got this badass dude that's just flipping tables over and whipping people, and then in the end he gets his ass beat. He gets pounded to a tree and then dies. And then supposedly he rose back up from the dead. Nah. Nope. No, it just doesn't happen like that. It's not realistic. But then I learned, well, no, it's possible that you really can get killed. And the technology, even if your entire insides explode, they can just gut you out, plug up some holes, reroute some wires, and and add a damn battery instead of a heart, and you're back up and running, because your brain, your head, your chip, your data inside of your brain keeps going, and they can even take that portion out and just plug it into a new cloned body that's ready for plug-in. Just like a brand new car, a shell of a car, brand new car with no motor, just sitting there waiting for another motor to be put in, or more like a car that's already sitting ready to go, motor and everything, just waiting for that chip to be inserted with the memory, like a supercharger type chip thing. Your brain is supercharged. So let's say when you have a brand new Corvette Stingray 2022, 23, and there's a supercharged chip that once you put, it's just something you plug into the electric components, all of a sudden it gives it another 200 horsepower, because it's designed to have that memory of being able to create more horsepower just through electric components. So that's how I see that portion. But when you're not saying anything, the reality of being crucified has nothing to do with nails through your hands and hanging up on a tree. Has nothing to do with being nailed to a cross by Roman soldiers either, because that sounds kind of gay, doesn't it? When Jeffrey's pushing the gayness of Jesus being a limp dick little pussy bitch faggot. That's what he's pushing. So as the Bible has been purposely misinterpreted, pushed by Satan to get people to believe, if you try to stick up for yourself, you're going to be beat to a tree just like he was, and you're going to be silent, being taken to the crucifixion. You know why? Because if you're on the YouTube platform and you're speaking about things like in the beginning, how I started speaking about things and how people started to crucify me daily, and like Matthew daily, literally, and then Ashley McCormick telling me to, you better watch what you fucking say. What does that make you, Jesus? Because we're all crucifying you? Well, it makes me a representative of Jesus, not him per se, but the same exact spirit. So yeah, you guys are crucifying me on a daily basis. So I've experienced that part as I'm speaking up for myself. But on the day of crucifixion, like when Matthew was actually crucifying me, literally, that he got the command to start around 6:30 and last up until at least 9:30 for 3 hours between the 6th and the 9th hour on my 11th month and first day on the YouTube platform. After 11 months, 11 years and 11 days from the time that YouTube uploaded their first video, from the time that I uploaded my first video, and my first video was uploaded on April 2nd, 2017, and it was 1 minute and 11 seconds long. And when I was being crucified on the 11th month and the first day, on March, I believe it was 2nd, 3rd, maybe 4th? 2nd. So when I was being crucified by Matthew daily, as I was being crucified daily, and he had 111 subscribers as he was crucifying me for 3 hours. So what was I saying when I was being crucified? Not much, I mean, because I didn't realize how painless being nailed to a cross actually is. Being led to the slaughter. King Neb had 12 months to respond to that first initial vision of Daniel just appearing into his life. Boy, did SJD respond within 12 months to me, because the bunch of people were sent in my direction to crucify me just like that. Now, I didn't realize that's what was going on. I didn't realize until after, apparently, I rose from the dead, and many years later started to see, oh, that was, wow, you guys actually crucified me? And you planned on doing it like that? I just thought it was after I seen it. Like 4 years later, I'm like, no, not even 4 years, within a year, I think, when I was watching Derek from A Glop of Truth, and he's like, are you a Judas? And everybody was in the house of Judas. So then I realized, well, that's what it's like, because nothing's literal, it's all spiritual. And that's why I wasn't really saying anything besides, look at this guy's going to bash me mainly. I didn't look at it as a crucifixion until maybe a month ago when I looked at the actual time, and it literally was between the 6th and the 9th hour that Matthew daily was crucifying me, even though he was crucifying me daily before that. So that was back in the beginning of it. 4 years later, this is what it looks like. So this is what it's going to look like in the very near future. The best part about flipping over to money exchangers is finding Stephen James DeShawn and Jonathan Vargo Kleck, and the ones that have all absolute control of the money, the currency, and how it gets exchanged, and demonstrate over the years my dedication to the Christ spirit. No matter who threatens to literally nail me to a cross, if I think for a second that I'm going to represent Christ, none of it's scary. It's all a bunch of hogwash, bullshit, fear tactics. F you, pay me, because that's what's going to happen. So everybody who's cocky and arrogant and doesn't believe, I'm going to sick Kim Jean on you. Because Kim Jean is like, to me, he's like a ruthless something that if you have in your pocket and you just pull that thing out and throw it at somebody, it'll slice them up. And that's what I believe Kim Jean is here for, to slice up Jeffrey Daugherty. Slice him up, King. Slice him up, King Jean. Feels good to have some people on your side. Although it's all spirit. It's all spirit for now. So I just wanted Jeffrey to understand that this is about the Christ spirit. This ain't about a human being. Although it starts with a human being, and the Christ spirit works like a flood and just devours everything, all evil. And it does it over time. But you have to get the top. The top of the food chain first. Once they're converted, it's going to take some time for everybody else to fall in line, because it'll happen naturally. All this is happening naturally. I wanted it to happen faster, but it's just the way it is. It's happening just like this. Because here's what I was thinking, all right, well, I'm not surprised how a lot of times people watch my channel. They already know about the things I've been saying, because I've lasted for quite some time on this YouTube platform. And which means even high profile channels can see that this Robin Hood channel over here, I don't really know who he is, but he won't shut his freaking face, and I'm kind of irritated at him. And he thinks he's going to represent Christ in the system, but we're going to stomp his face to the ground. And what's going to happen is we're coming up to the crucifixion that we think is real, or we think the crucifixion's coming up now, but it had already taken place years ago. This is more of the rising of the Christ spirit inside of the YouTube platform. So as he's saying Christ is a bitch, he ain't saying anything, and as I've learned from Ryan Hall, y'all, as soon as I clicked on and watched his video, he knew that I was there. I don't know why he was. It's like everybody has a direct line to my channel, or through my eye, or through the phone, or through the YouTube platform. And so I was communicating with Ryan Hall that day, and it was fun. But that was friendly. Jeffrey Doherty doesn't seem very friendly, and maybe he is. I don't know. It's just the persona that I have behind it, the whole cockiness of knowing that the Bible is written by, the elite, and that him and others are playing the Bible out. But remember, this is what's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be played out just like that. Then the Christ spirit truly does rise up at the same time that the vision is failing. Christ's spirit is rising. So when it's a resurrection of that spirit, it takes time. It takes years for it to be recognized as powerful from the Almighty God, which is a spirit in heaven. Has nothing to do with any other people besides that. So when that spirit rises up over the years, and we're getting ready for a crucifixion all over again, as if it's going to be literal, well, you may get to that point where it's gonna look literal. Hell, you may even literally nail somebody to a cross, but it's fake nails and fake blood and fake this and fake that, and it's like Don Cheadle having Ian having an evil doppelganger twin that they get into a elevator, and then one of them takes the place of the other because one of them is sent to defend another. And then they can, follow through with the whole thing for real. Or maybe it's even the fallen angels or the archons, or however you want to look at it, they've already died and they just get plugged into a new body. And then so as they plug into this new body, as they're getting ready to take the place and play out the real nails, then they can actually drive them through the hands and they won't even feel anything because it doesn't even hurt. Because that body's not created to have those nerve endings of feelings. So it can just literally happen. I can't wait to just have my movie written this way, with all the ideas and realities that sounds more realistic than the fakery that we were taught in the new movie that's coming out. But either way, the angel of the bottomless pit still didn't sell his house. It's still here. And I can't I'm not gonna watch too much more Doherty because I can't stomach the sound, the voice, the cockiness, the arrogance. The day that people are going to be licking the dust under my feet, it's going to be a great day. Because they're already licking the dust as it is. They're just not tasting it just yet. But they're getting a taste of it. They just haven't literally tasted the dust. But it's coming. So my point is, I always want to make sure that just in case if someone thinks that this is where we're at, like this is a literal crucifixion, and if Doherty was taking a shot at me because he knows that he doesn't like me, and I never even knew who he was, but he doesn't like me because I represent the Christ spirit. And as I'm on his live stream, he starts talking shit. Although it is scripted, everything he said was scripted, so it could have just been perfect timing. But I wanted to make sure that I said, "F you, pay me," when he's talking about Christ not saying a word like he's a punk bitch. I represent Christ. I'm going to speak for him until the day that I die. No matter what, no matter who says what, doesn't matter. So we're not at that point where there's going to be, or we may be at that point. We may be at that point where some people were promised to literally kill somebody like myself and just say, all right, well, you want to represent him? Well, then you're going to die. And then we're going to say, where's Jesus? And then I'm going to say, oh, you mean the Spirit of Christ? Right here. And then they're going to fall back laughing like, yeah, man. And then the day that they get their reward is going to be the greatest day of my freaking life.